Yo, 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 yo.
Hey, Bobby, ding dong, the witch is dead, I guess, right? Everybody's
They are
one third of
partying in
the one
DC.
third of the country with the TDS is celebrating, and then the Capitol is being stormed. What a morning!
Storm the Capitol.
Storm the Capitol.
Capitol.
Uh-huh.
You know, I certainly will appreciate clarity if it ever comes, man.
I don't think anything's even happened yet, but it's interesting.
Yeah, for sure it's happened. Fucking Pence said he's not going to fucking back it.
Right.
How about that? He writes the letter before he goes in, like, you know.
I mean, you knew, but that was so telegraphed. Everybody knew. It's not even like it shouldn't be a shock to anybody.
Maybe, Matt, maybe, possibly. Hopefully, we get some. I know Senator Tim Scott is.
We'd be done with the age of politics every day. I'm over.
Yeah,
Please.
he's authoring, I think, an election integrity bill. Maybe we need an election integrity amendment. Because I'm so fucking sick of it. I can't even. I can't even tell you. How has this occupied my conscience in my life, man? So many more enjoyable things than listening to my favorite term, Matt, public servants.
Yes.
Right?
There's nothing but public about them.
Public servants. You love it when you see public servants like Al Corleone, an original member of the Clinton crime family.
Yeah.
His net worth go from about $1 million to $300 million publicly serving. And all of them, man, it's across the board, right? Other than John Kerry, because he married his money, Heinz ketchup all over his marital.
He is deep dark state, baby.
It is a deep dark state, and I'm fucking sick of it.
Exactly.
Anyway, and it's not just here, Matt. It's not just here. It's everywhere. The Queen cancels all garden parties for 2021. As you can.
I mean, I had Ricky Nelson dialed up for the garden parties this spring also, and what's she doing? She's ruining our lives with no tea parties anymore.
I gotta tell you,
I went to a garden party.
Right? What a brutal way to live in the UK if you can't have a garden party. I mean, right. I got to imagine there's some great stories about getting way overserved at a garden party, right?
Especially if you have a British accent and you can carry on.
You're telling your buddy, dude, it was a garden party. You
had to be there.
Gone to sleep from the night before because you were shit faced. Anyway, I feel for the Brits because that's a national treasure, garden parties. If they cancel the Royal Ascots, Matt, and next week we're having a gentleman on very familiar with horse betting. The Royal Ascots is like the Kentucky Derby in the UK, but they run it for like 2 weeks. Let's get drunk on the infield for 2 weeks. Anyway.
So it's a 2-week Churchill Downs is what you're saying.
It's a 2-week, they call it a meet, it's a meet.
I like it.
Anyway.
A horse meet. That's funny.
A horse meet, yeah.
That's funny.
Yes, horse meat.
Where does horse meat trade in the pits in Chicago?
You know what? I do not know that, but I do know this, that
Don Corleone.
I have talked to more than one person that says that horse meat is actually very delicious. And I wouldn't, I don't see how hard that is to believe. Anyway.
Hey, there we go. That's what I want to talk about today.
Again.
USA!
And how about just, the best in the world in hockey at the junior level? Because, Matt, this just means, when you fractal out, like we like to fractal in and out all the time, right?
That's right.
Tell me about the fractal, what this World Junior Championship means for USA hockey.
Well, it doesn't happen often, right? But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the last time. I'm sure they won in the last 20 years. But, this is a tournament that is dominated, obviously, by Canada, typically Canada and Russia. And, I believe Canada rocked Russia into the semis and we beat Czech. And the Czechs are awesome also. So it was an exciting game. I don't know if anybody watched it last night on TSN. You got to watch it on TSN because that's the only place, you can find hockey, but it was a great game. And
know, I missed it.
Go Blue, by the way.
I missed it, and I here I'll let you gloat because Michigan apparently is a hockey school, not a football school.
It's a basketball and a hockey school, Bob, and it always has been. Red Berenson, for 40 years was behind the bench and made Michigan basically a triple A plus minor league squad basically for the last 40 years. That's what they've been. I mean, they just feed the NHL with some of the best young talent that just needs a couple extra years playing in college. So why not get your degree from, a top 3 institution in most places and skate your way to the NHL from there. Why not? What a life.
Oh my God. All right. I had to take over so we could stop hearing that nauseous fumes. And being a Western Michigan guy, I find it particularly offensive. Anyway, listen to me now.
There's nothing offensive about a Bronco being offended.
Hey, she's a Bronco. That's right. She's a Bronco. Anyway, listen, your favorite microcap could hit 100x in this run, right?
Yeah.
And I think this applies to microcaps, penny stocks, cryptocurrencies, everything. But there will only be enough liquidity to get 10x out, I think, and plan accordingly.
Yes.
I like fishy guts. I call him intuitive grasshopper, or it's, when I say that, it's like, where's the emphasis? And that's what's lost in tweeting. Intuitive grasshopper, like he's, it's kung fu, or the guy's an intuitive grasshopper.
Now you're talking Peter Sellers here.
Exactly. My dog does not bite. That's not my dog. Anyway, very important. And we talk about.
By the way, for people who aren't, familiar with the Pink Panther and Peter Sellers movies, one of my favorite movies, period. It definitely is in the top 10 for me, which people should watch today. And maybe you've never seen it. And he died while filming this movie, Peter Sellers. And the movie is great. And it's called Being There. And with what's going on in the political world today, you'll get a chuckle by watching Peter Sellers, who ends up, as Chauncey the gardener at the White House. He ends up being basically the prime. He's got the ear of the president, let's just say, and it is a fantastic movie. It really is a great movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I will have to watch it, Matt.
Being There, Peter Sellers.
Matt, this I want to talk about too, and I want you to share some charts because we talk about this especially in things that are illiquid, that you better be taking profits when you can, not when you have to, or you better be getting out when you smell danger and not wait for the femoral artery to be lanced, because it's impossible to get out then. But it's also true in much deeper pocketed or deeply traded things. I want to just talk today about this divergence in the bonds and the Nasdaq. Like I said today to a tweet, I'm down money today and I'm long soybeans, and I make good money in the soybeans, and I'm down money because I did not see this Russell being this strong. I mean, it happens anyway. But I just want to talk about needing to get out, which I did not do well. But also, more importantly, this divergence that we got going on here, Russell, Nasdaq, and the bonds absolutely smeared.
Yeah, so let's talk about this, because as most people know, when bonds go down like that, it means interest rates. The interest rate on the 10-year actually crossed 1% again today. So the TNX, if you want to follow that, crossed over 1%. And we will talk about the bonds. First, I want to start with what you talked about. And there's a couple ways you can look at this, right? Very bullish for sure. Point of control on this is a 1-year chart is back here at 1667, which is about where we took off from. That was the moment. And, we had just kind of been languishing until we got up here. And then once it busted out, Katie barred the door, because the Broncos are, we'll talk Broncos again, but they are bucking right now. And this thing is through the roof, crazy, right? 2078 is trading right now. This is the weekly chart. I mean, if you want to look at a short-term chart, Bob, like you said, the elevator, the shaft has amazing hydraulic abilities, but how high, I don't know. Again, rocket fuel is needed. Pence has ruled against Trump, which again, to me was very well telegraphed. He already had said it multiple times, and it was just the hopeful crowd that was hoping he would change his mind. But, and, so now what? So this is the same election that he won in November. He's won again in January, 2 months later. With that being said, the bonds, to your point, are getting schmeezed. And let me bring those up real quick. And the ZB is down even further now. It was 170 when we were talking about it earlier, and it fell through there. And again, it's just it's filling all these, we talk about these air pockets, and this is a liquid market. This is serious. If the equities don't sell off today, they'll sell off the rest of the week, is what I can tell you. Typically, unless the bonds are going to recover and be back in the 172 level tomorrow. But this is significant, Bob. And, this is just a 2-week chart. We'll fractal out a little bit here on the bonds, just so we can see multi-month lows. We're testing back here, the November lows. We're right at them again. So this is not a good sign if we close down here for the bond bulls, plain and simple. You had talked about the Nasdaq. I was talking about it at marketvitals.io this morning. Again, I don't like to trade on days where everybody knows there's going to be chaos, and I haven't done a heck of a lot. I came in with some junk shorts that I covered early, and then since then I've really sat on my hands. Gold got schmeezed, bonds got schmeezed. Let's look at the Nasdaq. And the Nasdaq, as I said earlier, is bouncing back today, but it's red. It's still red for the day. And if you look at the couple-week chart, I don't know. I mean, it's working its way up to this level here. That's still going to be hard to make me too bullish. So you have the Russell running away. You have the S&P making a marginal new high. It ticked high, and earlier I know it was like 74.75, 74.75. And, again, but that's up 75 points from where it was overnight. So it was trading 3,700 all night. And then they took it up 2%. I don't know what to make of it. I don't. And that's why I don't, when I'm like scratching my chin going, nothing makes sense, I just kind of back away and I don't trade. And that's really the type of day that was my plan for the day. And maybe by the end of the day, I might put on some new positions, but there's not a lot that I love in here myself. And then if you want to look at kind of what's going on, the FANG, I mean, the only thing that's really red, it stands out is FANG. Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Netflix.
I mentioned that the other day, how those swing stocks were in low momentum on the daily.
Correct.
A couple of them have rallied and tested that momentum level and have fallen back away from it. And for me, again, that's the smoke signal that I'm paying attention to. That what is that telling? What are the bonds telling you, and what are the FANGs telling you? And
one of them is here's always the way that I respond when you have these divergences that are so serious like this. One is right and one is wrong, because you don't diverge like this for a long time. So either the bonds are going to be wrong, which usually bond traders are smarter than equity traders, usually. So that's one option. Or, the bond traders are wrong and the equity traders are right, and that will rectify itself quickly. It has to rectify itself quickly in the next day or two. There's your options.
Right on. Yeah, it reminds me the bonds, the amount of money that is trading that is it dwarfs pretty much everything else.
It does. It absolutely, categorically does. Yes.
It's just giant. I remember back in the day I was working for Chase Futures, and they sent me over to the bond pit after I would spent most of my time in the currency quadrant. They sent me over to the bonds to quote the market, work the phones, talk to New York. And I never experienced saying 1, 2, 1, 2, like that's a bid offer, or 3, 5. I forget what it was, but literally for an hour or two straight. 3, 4, 3, 4. What's the market? 3, 4. Yeah, still 3, 4, 3, 4, 3 bid. Threes are trading 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. 3, 4, still 3, 4. An hour later, it's 3, 4, and thousands and thousands and thousands of contracts are trading. Anyway, a 2-point move. I mean, that just blows me away, the disconnect that is happening right now. And I agree. somebody's right, somebody's wrong, but it seems to me I'm putting more of my weight on the bonds because it is a giant move in capital.
It's a giant move in capital, and it should not go unnoted. And so we're notation experts here as market participants, and I wouldn't take it lightly. What about Ethereum and Bitcoin, Bob? They made new highs overnight and continue to. Ethereum's up here at 1208 as we speak. You want to talk a little bit about the?
Yeah, I sure do, Matt. I sure do. I'm involved. I'm long a few, and I got chased out of this cross, which kind of pissed me off. But we're gonna take a look at it. Hold on one second, because it for sure is staying strong. Where am I at? There I am. And again, for me, I got shook. These were fairly. Let's fractal down a little bit, because this was these couple moves here at night. This one shook me out, and I hate. Here's two things that are tough with cryptos. You're damned if you do, or you're damned if you don't. Putting in stops is like they're gonna hunt you out, man. They sniff stops better than anybody. But anyway, longer term though, the tone here for sure has changed. I mean, this is the 3-day. Well, back into up momentum, Ether versus Bitcoin. If we fractal out to the weekly, and again, it's been since August since we've been in up momentum on the weekly, Ether versus Bitcoin. That's the type of stuff I pay attention to. And longer term, you should too. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not saying you shift everything, but I'm saying that, there's a lot more potential right now. The way I look at things, having some of your money in Ether, and I do this analysis across the board for the top, maybe say 10 that are liquid, because Bitcoin isn't always the best story. That being said, let's talk a little Bitcoin, because we got room here still now on the weekly 39,127, that weekly collar. That started off the week more in the $38,000 area, and that's where I'm working to get out of longs. But I got to tell you, I don't see what's stopping this from a technical standpoint, from the standard deviation modeling. It's going to have to change its tone on the, you got to fractal in. It's going to change its tone on the daily before the weekly. But so look at some of these levels now. That weekly up momentum level, 32,391. That's something that I'm paying attention to.
What about the hourly, Bob? How's that look?
Say that again?
Hourly chart. How's that looking?
Yeah, by the way this thing is looking, I'm just, and you've seen some of these moves. That's not out of the question that we can go grab that type of area. Now, we love the 610. I love the 610 also. And this is still looking strong too. I mean, it's holding this momentum
a little lower though as you're going down. That's what I want to see. I want to see the 1 hour chart too.
Yeah. Still, Matt, let's go 55 minutes. We're fib guys.
Yeah, fine. But again, it's containing it here is what I see.
It sure is. It's containing. We got this high to get through. Another on this hourly setup. So for intraday type of trading,
so
one of the setups that I love the most is a double top into a collar. You know what I mean? So it's for you chartists out there that love double tops and double bottoms, that's a place to sell. And for you standard deviation gurus, you're working into
and that's what. And by the way, that's what we're doing. We made this high overnight back here. Right around midnight. Oh, you had it. I wanted to keep looking at that there. And then we're testing it again. So we haven't made a new high today. The high was made last night. And that's important to say. And that's why I wanted you to show that, because the smaller time frames will actually show that there might be a rotation underlying here if that hourly especially can't make a new high. To me, that would be another like chink in the, be careful chasing.
One other thing that I wanted to just, and this is what the community does. We share information that, it's like the more points you have out there looking at different things, the more radar blips that you get. And this one I thought was interesting. Apple's iPhone privacy. There's been so much talk about integrity and privacy, right? It spans multiple things, not just elections, but your data, what your data is worth, who's getting your data. And apparently Apple and their new iPhone is going to have some privacy features that are going to be fairly robust with your ability to shut down your data from being distributed anywhere. And the article points out how much, I mean, as much as a 3% hit on revenue for places like Facebook and Snap, because they don't get the information, man. I got the information for free, or I paid for it, but it turned revenue. Anyway, it's another thing that's on my radar here going forward as we chart a brave new world. And by the way, this so interesting, the whole crypto space, and the next 5 years, 10 years, I think are going to be incredibly interesting because the legacy players want to fight, right? They want to protect their market share. There's a whole thing in crypto called, it's about remodeling the whole financial services infrastructure of the world. Peer-to-peer payments, seamless, instantaneous, at zero cost. I mean, when you think about the potential of this technology and the disruption, it's going to be the Wild West out there, and there's going to be winners and losers for sure. But anyway, back to the privacy side. Both of these stocks, though, for me, don't look very healthy on that daily time frame.
Yeah. Well, I haven't looked at Snapchat. It's a good. Let me take a peek here if you don't mind. I've looked at Facebook recently, but I have not looked at Snap. Let me bring that up if you don't mind. Come on. And, this is trading 50.74, high of 55. That was I'm pretty sure all-time high on a weekly. Yeah, this thing's gone parabolic. So it doesn't look bad. I mean, it's definitely bullish. This thing, remember, only came public in March of 17. So anybody that has owned Snap is in the green unless you bought it at 54.95 down to 50.78. So I call that bullish in my book. I don't know about you, but again, I don't want to chase it up here. There's a lot of things that I don't like about it. It's now let's just say it's $75 billion market cap. I don't like that. That seems insane for Snapchat, but there's a lot of ads and my kids are on it all day. So there's some value to whoever it is that uses Snapchat. I do not use it every day. The other thing I wanted to look at before, we jumped onto the next subject here, Bob, and we talked about it earlier, and I just didn't bring up a chart. Gold. If you like gold, we talked about this last week. I was bearish that move, and it came in $50, up 50, down 50. But what was interesting to me was if you are in fact bullish gold, well, here's your dip to buy. Here is, we talk about this all the time. I don't want to chase up here. Here's the dip. Okay, coming back to the breakout line, down to 1890 or so means, be bullish. So low risk trade here, again, I'm not so heavy handed and bullish on gold myself, as I've stated. Matter of fact, I was short that move and I collected it today, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I wouldn't necessarily want to buy it, but if you did, you're wrong below 1850. How's that? So if you like it here at 1912, you got 50 points, which is 4 or 5%, which can happen in a day, by the way, in gold, as we've seen today. Gold was down 42 points as we speak. And just be aware that if you want to buy it, this is probably the time. Again, maybe you rotate a little back into, take some profits on your Bitcoin that you've been running up to the moon with, or Russell, and you take a little stab on the upside move, continuing with gold if you're bullish on gold. Again, something to think about.
Well, this will flow right in because gold likes nothing more than inflation and saber rattling. And again, this one, Iran approves mandate to destroy Israel, anniversary of Soleimani's death. It's amazing to me, again, the age of ambiguity, how much progress has been made in the Middle East. And then,
let's talk about that. Qatar, flipped to, it's basically everybody now in the Arab world has gone to the peaceful side of things. And as we transition to this violent transition in our own government, Trump, to his credit, everybody mocked the whole move, the Jerusalem move. They mocked everything he's done in the Mideast, yet they continue to get things done there. Facts are facts. I mean, you can't deny what's happened over there. We haven't had this type of movement in
70 years, man.
75 years. So yeah. I'm going to tip the hat where credit is due and say, you guys need to wake up, because now, and we talked about this a little bit, it's great that we have color and women in our government. We've had better, diversity than ever across any industry and government in our country over the last 40 years. It's not a new thing. It's been happening for a long time. But is it the right time to necessarily put in a woman Secretary of Defense?
I don't know, man. I'm going to take the other side of this, because
this is why we have this discussion.
Hell hath seen no. What's the? I don't know. I
know what you're saying. Well, but I'm saying you have to understand. You have to understand. Always have to understand what your enemy looks at when negotiating.
Oh,
right?
I see. Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
The world is not going to be. I don't know. All I know is the TAC has been successful. So a new administration coming in, if they reverse course, it's going to be fairly evident.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to watch it unfold. I've said before, I mean, two of my major concerns as a voter, if you asked me a decade ago, would have been legalizing marijuana and figure out this Israel-Arab thing, because it seems to be the thing that is engulfing the world. Those two things seem to have been solved fairly well in this past decade, and the past 5 years in particular. Yet it feels quite different. I don't know. It's crazy. I cannot wait to not watch, which is what I intend to do the rest of 2021. I'm
right.
Turning it off. Man, I actually have my suspenders. Hold on.
Whoa.
You can't even see it. My ski suspenders. Yeah. We'll take it off here at marketvitals.io.
I mean, ratings and everything, but come on.
I'm going to head up to the mountain and catch some vertical, gravitationally driven turns.
How many feet are you going to get today? 20,000 or 10? What are you going
No chance, dude. No chance. It looks, doesn't look pristine up there right now. But I got a parking pass today.
So you got to go.
It's like parking lotto. You go up when you get a parking pass. It's so fucking ridiculous. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Thank you so much for watching. Please join us at marketvitals.io. Some private groups in there, well worth you joining. A lot of free information. We got the information for you. Get a added layer of discipline to your trade by joining a community of traders looking to watch out for each other. Thanks, Matt.
All right, Bobby. Peace. Have a good time up there today.
Right on.